The success of a movie doesn't really happen to you. You just sort of get, someone tells you about it, or you are aware of it. Your whole experience with the film is really finished when you hand it in.
Batman Forever is perhaps the most interesting and yet weirdest Batman movie in the entire franchise. It's also probably the most overlooked. Batman Forever is a film my thoughts have never really been quite clear on. I've put my head down. I've wondered, what really are my thoughts on this film? I've never really been able to quite figure it out. I've gone from liking it, to hating it, to thinking it was just mediocre. I've said all three. To be honest, even a few weeks ago I wasn't exactly sure. But one thing that was weird was I've always come back to watch it again. You know, like every time I'm in a Batman mood, I typically watch at least a few scenes from it, and a lot of times, usually, the entire movie again. However, now I think I've finally decided what I think about this film. In my personal opinion, this film is an almost perfect Batman movie, but still not perfect. So without further ado, let's discuss why Batman Forever was an almost perfect Batman story.
Shut up!
Now before this video continues, I need to talk about one man, the director of this film, Joel Schumacher. On June 22nd, 2020, Joel Schumacher tragically passed away due to cancer. Because of this, I've decided to make this video out of respect for him. You see, I'm not going to make a video about one of his better films or his best film. I thought instead I would make a video about one of his more underappreciated films, and hopefully honor his memory the best way I can. I would like to say along with that I am going to be criticizing Batman Forever in a few areas because I simply can't talk about this film without criticizing it. You see, I have a lot of positives to say about this film, but you won't get all those positives without some context, and those contexts, unfortunately, are negatives. Yeah, you'll get the point later on when I talk about the tone and the characters and whatnot, but my final words on this are, rest in peace to Joel Schumacher.
Was that over the top? I can never tell.
The tone of Batman Forever. Now, in my opinion, the biggest problem with this movie is the tone. Not because it's different than Burton's. I like that it's different than Burton's, and I'll get more into that later. The problem is the tone doesn't feel like it knows what it wants to be. However, I think Schumacher wanted it to be something like the Raimi Spider-Man films. Dramatic, but had some camp. I think this is pretty clear in the deleted scenes.
Your nightmares are there, and until you face them, I fear you will spend your life fleeing them. Master Bruce.
I'm Batman, Alfred. I'm Batman.
However, the studio was afraid that Batman Forever would have the same backlash as Batman Returns for being too dark, so they just, made Schumacher make it super goofy. So what we finally get is a lot of what Schumacher wanted, and some of the campiness, and maybe a bit too much campiness, that the studio wanted. However, this also results in a massive positive for the movie because it feels unique kind of because of this. Joel Schumacher's vision is, I guess, more realized in a way. It feels like the opposite of Burton's Batman, for better or worse. And look, I for one like Batman 89 a lot, and I love Batman Returns. I know a lot of people don't. I personally do. A lot more than of Batman 89, in fact. I love what they did with the character of Batman. Yes, I know it's ironic because I'm an advocate for Batman Does Not Kill. I'll get more into that later. But, yeah, still, nonetheless, I love Batman Returns. But for Schumacher's Batman, he needed something that made his version distinctive besides the unique visual style. And while I think him being dramatic with the camp would have been perfect for that, campiness isn't necessarily a bad idea either. It's just the balance of campiness that's a problem. The filmmaking in Batman Forever. In my opinion, the best part about this film is the filmmaking. The filmmaking on display in this film is just incredible. This type of filmmaking is what I miss about superhero films today. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. The first element of filmmaking I really want to talk about is the set designs. They're amazing. Just look at Riddler's office, magazines of Bruce Wayne, paper pamphlets of Bruce Wayne showing his obsession. It's a mess. It's messy. Same thing with Riddler's apartment. There's magazines of people, Bruce, the Riddler thing he's copying with his costume, I guess, or what he made, whatever, that big giant thing that he looks to for guidance when he's making his new costume, kind of showing us that he doesn't have a lot of friends. All the posters show his problem with obsession and how he gets obsessed with people, or in this case, whatever this green person is that he's ripping off. Or Two-Face's lair. One side is lit white, the other side is lit pink, kind of like Two-Face himself. I could see someone saying this is on the nose, but it doesn't really bother me as much. Bruce's mansion. It's orange, represents the Bruce Wayne he tries to be in the public eye. The cave Bruce Wayne is the Bruce that he actually is, the Batman. The design of Riddler's lair, it has that big box at the beginning, and it's lit green because, well, Riddler's green. Guys, set design and lighting are so important.
Production design is crucial to every movie. It really is. Even the ones where you don't think so. Because it's actually telling you the story. I mean, the place, the day, the weather, the storefront, the restaurant, the apartment is telling you so much information. Your eye gets so much information.
The set and lighting is just as much of a character as the writing for the character. The set design is so important. It tells you things about the story and character, as Schumacher said. It's also, in general, a beautiful looking film. Visually unique. It's visually memorable. It's not bland like an MCU Phase 3 movie. It's colorful, but the Batman, it's not because of Batman, it's because the villains are colorful, whether you think a villain like Two-Face should be colorful or not. Shot well. Like I said, the filmmaking's pretty great. The fight scenes are what you'd expect from the Batman movie at this time. So yeah, I think overall the filmmaking is just amazing in this movie.
Join us in a celebration of absolute chaos and true justice!
The characters in Batman Forever. Now, on the one hand, this movie has some really great characters. On the other, it doesn't so much. So I'm going to save the best for last, and let's start out by talking about the most hated one, Two-Face. Now, the worst part about this movie is Tommy Lee Jones' take on Two-Face. They didn't really explore the fascinating aspects of Two-Face. He's too goofy. I mean, he would make a great Joker. I mean, think about it. He does things Joker would do. He's at a circus, and he's like the ringleader outfit. He acts like Joker. He laughs. He's goofy. He feels like more like Joker than a traumatic villain like Two-Face. However, there is one major positive thing with Two-Face, and for that matter, all of these characters. I don't love Two-Face as a character, but I do love what he does for the characters of Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne. I'll talk more about those characters later, but for now, let's talk about the Riddler. Also kind of like Joker, but at the same time, I still really love his inclusion in the movie. In Batman '89, Joker wasn't obsessed with Batman like he is in the comics, so I think this movie might have realized that, maybe, just a theory of mine, but instead took the Riddler and had him be obsessed with Bruce Wayne, so we could still have some kind of obsessive villain for this franchise.
The Riddler.
He's crazy, but, like, crazier than the Riddler usually is, but he still works for this in this film for me. I feel like him being this insane is better than Two-Face being this insane. Also, Riddler's plan was strangely ahead of its time. I think he feels a bit rushed and maybe can get a bit carried away sometimes and become a bit annoying, but still works pretty well for what this film was going for, I think. I think personality-wise, his character worked in the film, but his suit was maybe a bit much. I also love how he's really just an innocent person who got picked on a lot, hurt, and also kind of obsessed with Bruce Wayne. He treated Bruce Wayne as if he was his best friend, and when he betrays him, it feels heartbreaking to him. We don't necessarily feel bad for him because we don't get to know him long enough before that, but it's clear by how his boss treats him and how others don't really defend him ever or even speak to him that he's an outcast and doesn't really have any friends, which I think adds to his character. Oh my God. Chase Meridian as a character is a mixed bag for me. I love half of her character, and I hate the other half. The half with Batman, I do not like.
Do I need skin-tight vinyl and a whip?
The stuff with Bruce, however, I actually do like. I like how she helps him cope with his parents' death. At the same time, I kind of like the idea of, like, getting over, like, thinking you're in love with Batman, kinda, but it's still just doesn't work for me. Along with that, it feels like she's two different characters. Her personality changes between both, and it gets kind of bizarre and jarring at times. At the same time, though, her arc of learning to love Bruce Wayne, not Batman, was kind of interesting. Like, take this moment right here. This moment here is Bruce realizing she doesn't actually love him, and then this is also her realizing that Maybe it is Bruce she loves, and Bruce just isn't aware of it. Now we move on to Robin, who, believe it or not, I actually really like in this movie. Specifically, his arc. I think Chris O'Donnell did a really good job with his arc. Yes, he's probably maybe a bit old, but I love how his arc serves as a beautiful contrast to Batman's arc, who we'll get into in a few minutes. Dick, similar to Bruce in Batman '89, wants to kill his parents' killer, but Bruce here has already done that, and he realizes how much pain it will take on him. Now, I do believe they take his coolness and edginess maybe a bit too far, but it's not that big of a deal, and we still have moments like these.
Killing Two-Face won't take the pain away. It'll make it worse.
It's your fault! You didn't tell Two-Face anywhere at the circus! They'd still be alive!
If Bruce Wayne could have given his life for your family, he would have. So you're willing to take a life. And it will happen this way. You make the kill, but your pain doesn't die with Harvey, it grows. So you run out into the night to find another face, and another. But one terrible morning you wake up and realize that revenge has become your whole life.
And that brings me to my final character, the best one, Batman himself, Bruce Wayne. This may be a hot take, but I 100% believe Kilmer is on the same level as Michael Keaton. Heck, I'd argue he's not only more comic book accurate, but I personally might prefer him. It's actually kind of hard for me. I like both a lot. Both his Bruce Wayne and Batman side I think are really good. He has that stoic little nature of Bruce Wayne. He obviously has a persona of Bruce Wayne, and when he's at home with Alfred, he acts like, Batman, which is who he actually is. I love that this movie continues his arc from Batman Returns. In Batman Returns, he learned that it was wrong to kill. I'm going to talk about that in a video coming up later on this year. But basically, in this movie, it continues that. And, Two-Face and Riddler kind of help kickstart that arc. His arc runs parallel with Robin. That's why he always telling Dick,
Your pain doesn't die with Harvey, it grows. You run out into the night to find another face, and another, and another, until one terrible morning you wake up and realize that revenge has become your whole life, and you won't know why.
Your family wasn't killed by a maniac.
Yes, they were. We're the same.
Dick's family being killed makes him question why he was Batman in the first place. In this film, Bruce truly learns to accept Batman and family, a new family. This film has a lot to say about Batman, and I think it mostly succeeds. You know something all the characters have that's amazing? Everybody has a reason to be there. Sugar and Spice, Two-Face's two girlfriends, are there to represent the two sides of him, whether you think that's too on the nose or not. And this boss guy is there to motivate Nigma. Batman Forever isn't a perfect film by any means, but the heart and ideas are there, along with some really solid themes. And that is all what makes Batman Forever an almost perfect Batman movie.